Salve, salve, galerinha! Tá trazendo mais vídeo pro canal. Galerinha, hoje nós vamos dar continuidade aqui nossas aventuras no Genshin Impact. E no vídeo de hoje nós vamos concluir aí a missão do Arconte. Eu acredito que a gente consiga concluir a missão do Arconte. A não ser que essa missão do Arconte aí esteja gigante, né? Mas a gente deu uma boa andada no vídeo anterior. Se vocês não assistiram, eu aconselho vocês a estarem assistindo no vídeo anterior, onde a gente começou, né? A nossa jornada aqui para Inazuma. Opa. Então já queria pedir pro pessoal deixar aquele like, se inscrever no canal se não for inscrito. Vídeo todos os dias, ative aí o sininho das notificações para você receber as notificações dos vídeos. Queria agradecer o pessoal que tá se inscrevendo no canal, o pessoal que tá deixando aquele feedback nos comentários, o pessoal tá compartilhando aí os vídeos nas redes sociais, muito obrigado. Lembrando que eu estou fazendo live, se vocês quiserem participar das lives, só seguir meu canal que está aparecendo aqui embaixo e ativar notificações para vocês ficarem sabendo quando eu ficar no live. Então aí vamos dar início aqui, né? Da onde a gente parou. Vamos lá. Acho que tá longe, dá pra teleportar? Dá. Dá certinho, tem um teleporte aqui. Ainda bem que eu dei uma rodada aqui, peguei os teleportes, né? Alguns teleportes. Ó, e aí pra falar com esse velho aqui.
Why are you doing this? Why?
Precisely. It's much too the children are desperate for you to take them out to play. Please.
That must be the guy Ayaka told us about.
Ok, vamos lá conversar com ele.
You must also be. Tejima has protected this, keeping out the threat, but now, all of a sudden, we will
If you want my opinion, it's clear that I can't claim to fully understand it. But I could tell that he'd lost. Truth be told.
Seems like he's a well.
E vamos falar com ele aqui.
One day, I'll be as. You must be Tejima. So what?
Me? It's not true. And what made me want to come here 30 years ago? I don't have answers to those questions because I can't remember anymore.
Ah, a gente vai ter que encontrar, né, cada um dos... parece que aqui vai ser grande.
I knew I wanted to stay here. But
Okay. Well, in that case, if you can't remember. Oh, maybe if you just try a little harder to remember.
Oh, that reminds me. Last time I brought Tejima some.
I keep a diary?
Oh, yes, you do.
Perfect. So if we want to keep Tejima from leaving,
If you don't mind, we will leave.
one day I'll be as great
Tem que procurar coisas aqui ao redor, né? Ó, um livro aqui. Achamos o diário dele ali.
Looks like Tejima's diary, all right. Let's see what we today. The villagers and I got together to cook dry braised salted fish. Today, I helped rescue a kid who had fallen in the water. After I pulled him out, he told me I went kite flying today. The string broke, so Huh? I went to pray at the shrine again today and stayed there a while. The Omamori you gave me is fake. Now that's the
Ok, ela deu um memorial aqui que tem aqui perto. Ali.
So this is the interesting. But anyway, if he had this with him all the time, there's a chance some of his.
Vai usar a visão.
Here we are. This seems the soil looks like must be something pretty.
Ali tinha que usar a visão e andar por aqui por cima, né?
It looks like Konda Village. Sounds so familiar. Where is that place again? Huh. So the reason, but he's been here for 30 years. Well, let's go give
Well, I'll be. That's certainly. But I have still. It's clear over the years, I must have made a note of anything interesting. How could I have forgotten something so important to me? Love, regrets, everything I felt. No, after all, I've forgotten who she was. Her face, it's as if she'd never been in my life to begin with. I think maybe not. Although, what if she were to turn up eventually? Oh, when I think about it, like, how curious. Why am I thinking like this when I don't even remember who she is? I shall remain here.
Tejima seems to be dealing... Okay, seems it's just that certainly at least we were able...
Ok, vamos para a próxima pessoa. Eu pensei que a gente ia resgatar os...
One who lost their vision is a samurai from the Tenryou Commission.
Eu pensei que a gente ia resgatar as visões, né? Que tá na estátua. Acho que dá pra gente teleportar, né? Dá. Eu vou fazer um vídeo pegando todas aqueles cristais ali, né? Pra aumentar nossa estamina. Por isso que eu não tô correndo de pegar nenhum, né? Já que eu quero fazer um vídeo só pegando todos. E esse aqui é o samurai?
They say the Tenryou Commission is directly controlled by the Shogun. They're the ones responsible for maintaining law and... But why would they take... Paimon doesn't get it. Huh? There seems to be some commotion over there. Let's go see what...
I'll ask one more time. Do you intend to withhold this
The entire clan is counting on that food. We demanded how many times?
You dare deceive us? Those provisions are essential. Do you understand?
You samurai think you can just do whatever you please? The Tenryou Commission will hear of this.
Oh, huh? And who are you?
What? We heard the commotion and came to see what...
I see. You seem to have come just at the right time. This is Kurosawa. He's a samurai and a member of the Shogun's army. They issue emergency provisions to the area. In the past, we'd simply ask him for provisions and everything would be delivered. Now, he suddenly refused. He's keeping the provision.
No one seems to care about us. We used to think Kurosawa was a kind man, but he's shown his true... It's no wonder all the visions have been confiscated. The Raiden Shogun doesn't need people like him helping her rule the nation.
This must be one of the people Ayaka asked us to help. But maybe we should talk to Kurosawa.
Ok.
I've never even heard of these emergent... I don't know whether it's rumors or whether they're trying to blackmail me. But either way, it's ridiculous. My own family can barely get by as it is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got other matters to attend to. And that's the first bit of truth I've heard all day. The Shogun's army told me that I was unworthy of my vision. And they said I was slacking off in my work.
Well, that's strange.
To be perfectly honest, I don't seem to remember. All I know is that I will perform certain things every month. And
Does it have to...
I didn't take any. Like I said, if I was taking them for myself, I wouldn't be to top it all off. My house was just raided by treasure hoarders. Which is why I came here in the first place. If you don't believe me, go find the treasure hoarders yourself.
But we should be able to...
Ok, vamos procurar os ladrões. Ah, pra lá. Agora tem umas missões aqui. Eu não vou mexer nessas missões também. Já que vai ser... Ó, tem outras ali. Aqui, observatório. Já que eu vou fazer vídeo de cada missão, né? Fazendo todas as missões aqui. Aqui.
We really outdid all those samurai houses packed with goods. We really hit.
You haven't seen anything yet. There'll be a lot. Today's just the beginning. I'll be leading you all on an epic journey. You demand.
These seem like the treasure hoarders were.
E vamos chegar lá tocando terror, né? E acabou.
Picked the wrong.
There goes all the Mora. We worked hard to steal. Come on, boss.
Not bad, kid. You ever think of joining Kurosawa? So he's the one who sent you after us, huh? Just our luck.
So what did you see inside? Was it
Food supplies. You kidding? That place was a complete mess. All we found was I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I was planning on opening it myself once, but now that you've caught us, how about we make a deal?
You've got a deal. Now show us what.
Huh?
What the?
There's nothing in here but IOU!
Yeah, a lot, and they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods store. Miss, we better talk to this miss off. As for you guys, you're.
So, we redeemed ourselves for some IOUs. Does that mean we broke even?
Shut it.
Ok. Eu acho que ele não tinha provisões extras. Ele pegava o dinheiro e comprava as coisas e fez dívida, né? Eu acredito que tenha sido isso. Voltar lá. Acho que dá pra teleportar, né? Dá. E aí ele acostumou a galera comprando com o dinheiro dele as coisas, né? Então...
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries, or perhaps there's... Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it?
Whoa! How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost.
So that's how he was getting those. But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increase.
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been carefully calculating how much they needed to sustain them each time. Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough. So he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people...
Wow. Kurosawa was and no one ever appreciated what he did. They just
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, nope. Of course, I'm sure there would still... As for why he chose to spend... If you're still curious, why do I see? That most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell the sword? Oh, didn't he tell you? I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Oh, but before you go...
But
information is all... Don't worry. I won't charge much for
At least we now know where the... Let's go talk to Kurt.
Aqui o povo cobra tudo, velho. Até o ar que você respira, o pessoal tá cobrando. Vamos... Não tem teleporte pra lá. Acho que eu vou habilitar aquele teleporte ali na frente, quando a gente passar aqui.
I presented them with a choice. It turned out to be... Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders?
That just about sums it up.
Strange. I don't really have any such recollection. Why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put my... But I cannot deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, this sword was... I remember once when I was young... What did he say? It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision... All I can remember and...
Hey, if you look carefully, there seems to... Can you recognize the words?
Virtue? Somehow those two words seem to taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. But what use are virtue and justice? I purchased... The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the very people I was so desperately trying to help. And the irony of all of it is, I'm incapable of being a good person. Yet I'm equally unable...
Yet another... When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like losing all, unfortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the next port.
Ok, então era mais ou menos isso mesmo, né? Ele tava pegando o dinheiro dele e comprando os alimentos pro pessoal e não deu muito certo. Tá, habilitamos aqui o teleporte. Teleportar pra lá, tô com preguiça de andar. Aqui embaixo.
The third person who had their vision taken is supposed... Paimon heard that he's the present... This is his dojo.
Nanako, don't worry. Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end.
Maybe, but things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but...
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcism...
Hey there!
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is in pain. Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live to regret...
No! You got it so wrong! We just came here to...
Disciples?
Yep. But then we got here and overheard you talk...
From the way you're dressed... Please, accept my apologies. We've had so many people trying to cause... You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently, and he's still recovering. He's not able to... I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, how about this? My fellow disciple Nanako and I would... Sensei's name is though self-taught. He once said that his goal was to become the best, and so... But then...
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken. He says the strangest things over. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's been... But if I'm honest, I still have my doubt.
The Grand Narukami Shrine?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. But so don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is going to be... The exorcism will take place this evening.
So...
Aguarde o... Tá, ok. A gente vai fazer o seguinte, a gente vai vir aqui no relógio. Vamos botar 20 horas. Acho que é das 18 a um pouquinho mais tarde, né? Bota 20.
Shh. So you decided to come. It's a good thing you didn't arrive any early. Just now, when Nanako was attending to him, when she asked him who the people were, it looked like he was in great distress. He was covering his ears and looking frantically around him, all the while he kept calling those names. Some of them we knew. One of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's. His senior, in fact. Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name. The ritual has now begun. All we can do is patiently... Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch...
Deve ser aquele cara que ele derrotou.
Who's that sneaking around? We won't let them get away with...
Tá, que foi pra lá.
Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up?
you sure you're Dolmon's unless... I guess it's been a few years.
Excuse me, and what are you doing sneaking around these parts?
Bad news? I'll have you know I trained side by... I don't care to talk about that time anymore. But...
His senior?
Anzai? Yes, that's me. Because I don't wish to see Dolmon or anyone else associated with him ever. When we were young, we trained under the same sword master. I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked up to me as practitioners of Make Yoshi Sui art seek to achieve stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. But Dolmon was different. The first thing he did when he joined was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beat. Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for... I thought so too at the time. But Dolmon began making swift progress in his... Only then did I realize that it was Dolmon who had long since freed his mind from... He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world. He sought nothing less.
Sure sounds like he meant...
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed our sensei. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained... Dolmon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, I lost not just the match, but my pride and my... Later, I heard that he sparred with Sensei, too. Sensei was advanced in years by then, and after that I wanted nothing further to do with him. Deep down, though, I still respected his master. So, when I heard rumors that he had lost his mind, my first reaction was to dismiss them as... I decided to quietly come and see if it were true. Then, to my complete astonishment, I heard him call my... So you see, I came here not to cause him... Okay, you've heard my story.
Seems still...
Vamos voltar. E ver qual foi do exorcismo, que provavelmente não vai surtir efeito, né?
You're saying, does that mean he's just lost his mind? But how?
Nanako, please.
I'm sorry. With what powers I have, I can find no sign of any but spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, many of which I cannot claim, and all is certainly not lost. For I received word not long ago that
Lady Yai? Is that the
head shrine maiden of the Grand Narukami Shrine?
Correct. Lady Yai is most knowledgeable in... I am unable to say for certain whether an evil spirit has possessed...
Excuse me, Miss Inagi, but I must ask, should we prepare...
That won't be necessary. All that is required of you is your timely arrival at the... I must leave now, but...
Who'd have thought Lady Yai herself would have taken...
Do you mean to say...
No, that's not what I meant at all. I just mean this... Anyway... You should, given that you've traveled all this way just to meet our...
Sure! Who knows? Maybe...
Aí vai para... Ok. Acho que daqui... É o ponto mais próximo que a gente tem ali, né? Só que a gente vai ter que escalar a montanha, eu acho. Aqui.
Do you think that's Lady Yai? Oh, no wonder Junyo is so excited. She has a really striking presence. Also, is it just Paimon? Or did she look right at us just now?
Keep away. I gave up the art of the sword. Please.
As you can see, Domon has persisted in this...
Lady Yai, it must be a possession, right? This is nothing like him at all. In the past, no matter what came his way, he would always face it with a confident smile.
I'm sorry. It is clear to me that your sensei is not possessed by any evil spirit.
Then did...
Yes. This is a change. Unable to cope with the tremendous pressure he was under, he suffered a spiritual collapse. With his wits impaired, he finally, as one who is thrown into the sea, though he fights back desperately against his predicament. As for what has triggered this change, I believe it must be the loss of his vision. For to be
stripped of his ambition? But Lady Yi, even without his ambition, why should he
Your school practices Meikyo Shisui art, does it not? Stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. What a fine notion that would be if any. There was once one who claimed to be indifferent to rank and reward, and who fled enraged when defeated by his junior. And then there was an aged swordmaster who was aggrieved enough that he crossed. Then, what of the one who crossed blades with his own sensei and beloved fellow disciple, and defeated them both?
Lady I'm not sure
The path of the swordmaster is filled with twists and turns. It requires one to take their sword firmly in both hands and cut down the hopes and dreams of others. Only a deep commitment to his ambition to become the best made it possible for him to rise above the pain of these encounters, to focus on the way ahead. When that ambition disappeared, he began to doubt himself. As he battled his growing anxiety, he slowly descended into the state you see him in.
Poor Sensei.
I'm sorry, Father.
That's enough.
Huh? Isn't that on? Did he follow us the whole way?
Ansai, why are there... You're here for revenge, aren't you? I knew it would come.
You're right to assume that my feelings towards you are far. It's been so long now that I made peace with it years ago. I don't think most of the people you beat along the way would hold it against you. On the contrary, when you cut our ambitions short, now I know that we can't place our hopes in you any longer. But that is no reason to strip them of theirs. Follow the way of the sword.
But what if one day... I put everything I had into trying to become the best. But what if it was all a huge mistake right from the start? If there's a chance they'll end up like me one day, I'd rather they stay where they are now than go any further down this path.
Have you asked them what
Sensei, I can't know whether I will suffer. I want to keep going until the day that I can...
Nanako's far from the only one.
Goodness.
You see? Being stripped of your ambition is something that's so... Just as I want. You are not in the same position that I was. When I left...
I'm sorry to have made you worry for me, and for the state. I no longer have the resolve to become the best in the world. The emptiness and suffering inside of me, but as your sensei, I shall commit to imparting unto you. This is my promise. And I humbly ask Ansai, my senior.
You can count on that. I'd be checking in on you occasionally anyway, just to make sure you hadn't. But I am now used to the life of a wanderer. I do not belong in the dojo anymore. Well, don't just...
So even though his ambition was taken away, his disciples can take...
Traveler, a moment, please.
So, my intuition, the wind that blows from afar carries fresh light. For us to meet now is premature. Nevertheless, you set foot on these islands at precisely the right moment. I have high hopes for you, child. Don't disappoint me.
E eu não gosto dessa mulher, viu? Talvez a gente tenha que lutar contra ela.
She seems super... We can come back to it another time.
Tá? Concluímos aqui, a gente pode voltar, né?
Oh, Ayaka! Guess who fulfilled all your wishes? Huh? Ayaka! Huh?
Deu ruim.
Traveler, Paimon. It is a pleasure to finally meet you, but I have heard all about how you helped our 3 friends.
Ayaka?
Because now that you have done the 3 things I asked of you, I consider you to be—
Wait a second. But isn't Toma your,
Oh. Paimon, you are most entertaining. Toma is first—
Oh, okay then.
Back to the matter at hand. You have now thunder's roar, but I believe that surely you understand what it seems that perhaps now you can— You will? Really? Naturally.
Alright, bravo, my lady.
See? I told you she wouldn't reject— Now then, given that the remainder of our discussion pertains to matters of a more confidential nature—
Well, here we are again.
Please continue without me.
So, what's the deal?
This is land that was gifted to the Yashiro Commission by the Shogun. Such privileges exist—
Oh, Paimon gets—
Once the number of ceremonial affairs conducted in the city began to decline.
Makes sense.
In any case, we can talk freely here. The almighty Shogun. She inspires awe, commands respect. It was her almost complete lack of any emotion. In that sense, she appeared to me to be less of a ruler and more of, well, an executive official, I suppose. Focused The issue is this. For the vast majority of people, the Vision Hunt Decree is something that has no implication. After all, because of this—
How can they—
Nevertheless—
Resistance?
Yes. Many who have lost or fear losing their— To say a little more, but I do wonder— Of course. We have tried on numerous occasions. Unfortunately, each time a proposal to repeal the decree arrives at they invariably— It almost makes one wonder whether they had a hand in the Shogun's sudden decision to issue the Vision Hunt Decree.
Ooh, Paimon!
Oh?
Have you got a plan yet to fight the
To be honest, we do not.
What?
Please, do not forget that challenging the Vision Hunt Decree is tantamount to challenging a deity.
So...
Well, for the moment, all we can do is try and For example, by providing vision bearers with—
You're telling Paimon that there are people out there who—
Don't underestimate the talents of the craftspeople in Hanamizaka. To the naked eye, their counterfeits are indistinguishable from the genuine— The problem we are facing right now is that Master—
Darn! So they—
Yes. We knew it was not a long-term solution, and— Exactly. I feel the same— By no means do— When you are ready.
Galerinha, o vídeo tá ficando muito grande, já estamos aí quase com meia hora de vídeo. Eu vou dar uma parada por aqui. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Deixa aquele like, se inscreva no canal se você não for inscrito. Vídeo todos os dias, ative aí o sininho das notificações para você receber as notificações dos vídeos. Queria agradecer o pessoal que tá se inscrevendo no canal, o pessoal tá deixando aquele feedback nos comentários, o pessoal tá compartilhando aí os vídeos nas redes sociais. Muito obrigado. Lembrando que eu estou fazendo live, se vocês quiserem participar das lives, é só seguir meu canal que está aparecendo aqui embaixo e ativar as notificações para vocês ficarem sabendo quando eu ficar online. Então é isso, galera. No próximo vídeo, valeu, falou e fui!